on to our next project. And for this one, it's going to be Jet Getters. And guess what? I don't know who's going to present this because no one put his name on it. So I assume it was Justin, just because of the look of the game. Was it?
No,
Justin?
it's me. No,
Really?
I got the first two.
Really? Oh, okay. So Jared's going to get our second game then.
Oh, no, just joshing. Just joshing.
Yes, Jet Getters. Okay, so there's a lot of pretty, core audience, aggressive, focused, competitive shooters out there. But maybe you want to take a step back from that and play something that's a bit more party friendly. And this is that type of game. It's a jet fighting multiplayer game. But you also have a arm that turns into a grappling hook that can latch on to other jets and even hijack the jets of your enemy combatants. So everyone starts off in a fighter jet, and you can eject at any time you want. There's no penalty to losing your jet. It's like an infinite resource. But at that point, you start to free fall, and you don't want to land in the water underneath you. So what can you do at that point? Well, you can yell, you can call for one of your teammates to come and catch you, and then you can ride on their jet, and while on their jet, you can be shooting at enemies, or you can heal their jet, or you could even swap with them, so that way you go into the pilot seat, and then they go out, and they're like hanging on to it, surfing. Also, of course, you could just be falling through the sky, shooting at enemies, and then grapple onto an enemy, and then try and take over their jet by hijacking it. And then you can even grapple onto missiles, and they also mentioned there might be other items as well, and then redirect those missiles back at the enemies. So it's a pretty crazy, agile game, but it's got very simple controls. They said that so far from what I've seen from the controls is you steer with the mouse because the ship is always going forward, and you left click to fire your weapon, and you right click to eject and to hijack. So from what I've seen, that's all the controls to this game. So they kept it pretty simple so that way a lot of people can play it, and it's just, I guess, a little bit more, it's not that barrier to entry for a lot of people to get into a shooter competitive, like a multiplayer shooter game. There are 4 classes to the game. There's kind of like a more heavy class, a more agile class, and then there's support, stuff like that. Typical sort of classes. Multiple game modes they mentioned. There's your standard team deathmatch. There's another that's kind of like a capture the flag where each team has a base with a golden ship in it, and the other team has to go in, hijack that golden jet, and then safely get it back to their base. There's another mode where it's called Kill the Rabbit, and that's where there's one flag, and whoever holds it for the longest during the match wins, and you kill the person to grab a hold of the flag. And then there's another mode which is more like objective, where there's a blue team trying to defend a base and a red team trying to get inside of the base. The developers are tinyBuild. They've made a couple of indie games already, which you can find on Steam. And one of these is a multiplayer game by the name of Speedrunners. So they've already done multiplayer, which is kind of a good sign because that can be a pretty big hurdle. They're a 2-man operation, but this time they're also, if they get the funding, will get a little bit of help from a designer who's been on the Killzone franchise, and he'll kind of give them some mentoring throughout the project, as well as they'll be hiring a couple more developers for the 3D animations, and a lot of the games that they've worked on before were 2D, and this one's obviously more of a 3D game being made in Unity. So, that's kind of the premise of the game, and currently they are at just over $8,000 with a goal of 50,000, but they still have 31 days to go. So, they're almost a fifth of the way there. Hopefully they'll make it all the way. I think that they've got a lot of good work shown already, and a good team behind it. So, what do you guys think?
Ooh. When I saw the video, I don't know why, but I thought of Halo when you steal the ghost from other player.
Mm-hmm.
That was that was actually pretty fun every time I did it. So it reminded me of that. So it's like they took that concept and just made a game out of it. So I don't know, I'm a little bit hesitant about it, but it seems pretty fun. I guess most of it will be based on how the game feels, I guess. How good would it feel to grapple it to your enemy ship and all that and steal it? I don't know, but that's just my opinion, I guess.
Well, I was going to actually pose it as a question to the group. I was going to say the same thing. How much of kind of the thought behind this game and maybe it's the success of the game, let's say, is based upon how the controls are. You said it's slight mouse movements, but I don't know if anyone's played any sort of simulation, flight simulators or anything, and controlling with a mouse has never been fun. Like, the invention of the joystick was because flight simulators sucked with the mouse keyboard. So I guess we'll see. I guess I saw there's controller support on Steam and with the Xbox controller. So I'm a sucker for multiplayer games, and even if this sucks, if I can have fun with my friends for an hour for $10, it seems like a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, to your question, Jared, I would say the game will live or die by its controls. It seems like a really frantic multiplayer game with a really unique mechanic. And they say it's got simple controls. From Justin's description, it sounds like it makes a lot of sense. But I think if they're gonna make it that simple, there's gonna be some degree of computer assist that happens when you're targeting or trying to aim at a plane to hijack, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's just gonna be a big challenge for them to fine-tune that experience to make it feel like you're actually doing something that's awesome. But also not making it too hard for you to pull off these amazing stunts, and have enough room left over for if you're a good player to actually get better at the game, actually separate the people who are really good at the game and the people who aren't, and create that sort of skill divide. But it looks like a ton of fun. I mean, I think hijacking things is kind of untapped territory when it comes to game design. We're starting to see it. I mean, with Titanfall, you guys have talked about it in the last couple of weeks. Hijack stuff there, and of course, for the longest time, GTA games, you're hijacking cars. And my point of reference for these type of things was playing Prototype. I don't know if you guys play that game from a few years back, an open world game where you play some mutated freak. And one of the things you can do is you can lasso onto helicopters that were trying to kill you, and you could yank guys out of the cockpit and then take control, or you could just do whatever, destroy the chopper in free fall and land on another one and do the same to that. So it was awesome. It was one of the few things the game did really well. So a game just dedicated to this mechanic. I mean, it's a great idea, and it's an idea that could only come from indie game developers, I think. So.
Mm-hmm. One thing I would like to see from it is, like, when you swoop down by the water in the jet, is to have some water kick up, like a stream of it, almost like a. You've seen the game? Is it called Luftrausers? It's like that.
From Vlambeer.
Yeah, Vlambeer. Yeah, It's coming out tomorrow. But anyways, in that game, you're a plane as well, and when you swoop down by the water, it kind of kicks up streams of water as you fly down, and that's just kind of some nice visual feedback. It'd be fun. But yeah, I totally agree. I was thinking also of rodeoing Titans when I saw like latching onto a ship on one of the jets and jumping on them. I think it will probably be pretty snappy, or like somewhat forgiving on how. I think it'll be pretty easy just to lock on and grapple on to enemies. I don't think it's you're gonna have to be exactly precise with that for this game, because they are going for more of just a fun, more kind of party game, I feel, type of design with this.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I only have one comment, additional comment. I think I did some reading on it, and there's a couple of interviews for this game, and they're kind of saying that it's going to take some time. We haven't started any of the development. This is all prototype artwork, and that they're targeting Christmas as a release. But then I don't know if it's a little disconcerting, but they have like the release dates for some of these pledges are saying September 2014, and then they hinted at a beta. But they hinted at beta for early summer. They said they wanted to get as many people involved as soon as possible. So I don't know. I guess the dates are a little mixed up as far as that is concerned. Because I don't know about you guys, but September is a lot different than Christmas time for me. I'd be heavily expecting the game if they, how we are as gamers. We hear that a game's going to be out, and we expect it to be out. Even though. I guess we all know in the development that we've done that deadlines are deadlines, and they usually push back. I don't know.